Welcome back to Goldlistening. This is the podcast we aim to give top business tips and advice. I'm here today with Neave from the Goldlist team. She's one of our marketing specialists. What are we drinking today?
So today we took a trip into our lovely high street and visited the Juice Smith, which is a vegan restaurant in Cobham High Street. Absolutely gorgeous, and we have two juices from them today. We're currently drinking one called the California Sun, which has a bit of a kick to it, doesn't it?
It is a little bit sharp.
But it's nice, good for you. And then the next one we've got on the table is called Watermelon Age, which I think will be just a little bit more refreshing. So looking forward to that one.
Hopefully. Right, today we're going to talk a little bit about the future of the high street, where we see it's going and what's going to happen next. Lockdown's about to kick in, second one in a couple of days, so what are the shops going to do to bounce back? Is the high street experience sufficient at the moment? You know, what are they doing to keep themselves up at the top?
I think if you're talking pre-COVID, no one really had thought about it. Your high street was always been, you pop to the shops, you pop here, you pop there. It was never, no one ever really thought about the efficiency of it. And I think as soon as the first wave of COVID calmed down, we had all this queuing and the masks and the shields and things like that, and I think the way it is now, we've kind of got used to that normal, but I don't think it's efficient. And I think this second lockdown has been so unexpected for everyone. I think it may have given some businesses that kick that they need to kind of think, right, what can we do for our shops to make this work better when we come out of this second wave, hopefully.
Yeah, I think there's some great things about online shopping, the ease, the effortlessness. I think what needs to happen is these need to be implemented into the high street. Replicate them, make them, because it's what people want at the moment. Yeah. What was the last shopping experience that you remember?
Oh goodness me, I went shopping the other day on the weekend not actually, about a few weeks ago in Oxford Street, obviously one of the busiest streets in London. This was before we knew the second wave was coming, this lockdown was coming, and I think I queued for a shop for about an hour. And it wasn't like I could just go anywhere else. It was the fact that was for all the shops. Any popular shop that you would normally visit, you'd go for an hour. There was no spontaneous lunches. There was no quickly going and grabbing a coffee. It was queuing for everything, booking everything. And I think it's sad in a way that we've lost that spontaneous lifestyle that we used to be able to live. And obviously it's for safety purposes, but it wasn't efficient. I spent most of my day queuing, which I never usually would have done. There was no popping in, popping out. You feel guilty now for having a browse because you've queued all that time to get in. You feel like you have to make a purchase to make it worthwhile. So I just think that, my last shopping experience wasn't enjoyable, and I think that's kind of probably why people have been more inclined to go to online shopping, because you don't have that. You get your stuff from online the next day most times. Sometimes it's actually quicker than having to queue. But it was kind of not where I was going with it. I thought, because what I was trying to get across is that when you go to the high street, you get an experience. So you can actually experience the brand better. Oh yeah. Sort of, as I was saying, I mentioned it earlier up in the office, that when you go to Jack Wills, they have wooden floors and chandeliers and bits and bobs. And when it's a smart technology coming up, Bang & Olufsen, it's all crisp and clean. Yeah. So you really experience the brand, which is completely lacked. That's completely gone.
Online. So I was hoping you were going to give me a positive one of the high street.
Well, there is positives to it, of course, but throughout lockdown, of course, a lot of high street brands did move online, and obviously online sales boomed completely to the high street. But I spoke more of a personal experience in COVID. It's not an enjoyable experience going to the high street. I think everyone knows that at the moment. And as much as you want it to be, it's more stressful because all the implications, but they can't help that. It's what they have to do. But if you're speaking pre-COVID, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't, I couldn't do my usual spontaneous coffee stop, my spontaneous lunch, or popping in and out of shops. That's the experience you want when you go to the high street, and you could have got that pre-COVID. You could have that freedom, do what you want, go and see where you want, and like you said, you see their brand for what it is. There are so many solely online brands now, and you buy from them, but you don't really know anything about them. There's so many online brands. I love fashion. There's Pretty Little Thing, Misguided, all things like that. They are all online. I've never stepped in a store. I think I have one store in LA. I don't think it's open to the public. there's no experience there. I know they have a pink banner and I order from them. I have no idea where my clothes come from, no idea what their branding is. Like, when I go onto the high street, I can see the store, I can touch the material, I can try things on before having to go all the way to the post office to send them back.
Yeah.
And I think that in itself is a more enjoyable experience. Pre-COVID, you had all that, and the high street was a great experience because you go shopping with your friends for 2 hours. Oh, should we quickly pop for lunch, or should we quickly pop for a coffee? And now because of COVID, we've lost that, and I feel like that's what the high street thrived off, because it was, you'd always go for one thing and end up doing 10 more things.
Yeah.
And I think we've been trapped now in this online world because we've had to be, and I think it's now we here at Goldlist and have to get our viewers and other people to escape that, because that's what we're trying to do. And as much as I've said, I know that the high street at the moment is a negative experience, but like, we've got stuff coming to help that, and there is other ways you can help that, and I know a lot of stores are moving to that way inclined. But I think with Christmas coming up and everything, we need to try and support what we would miss if it wasn't there.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned returning stuff. I was going to ask, what was the last thing you bought and returned?
What, from the high street?
From online, high street, wherever, whatever the last thing was.
Well, this is the thing. I think if I buy something from the high street and I need to take it back, I will go and take it back. Because, again, it's an excuse to go to the high street, it's an excuse to stop and get a coffee, it's an excuse to go out for the day, it's an excuse to maybe get some lunch or something like that. Online, I don't know why, and I think everyone can probably agree with me on this, there is nothing worse than having to go to the post office. I don't know what it is about, especially our generation, 20, 21, like, I don't know what it is, but I hate nothing more than going to the post office. I don't want to repackage up my parcel with sellotape, parcel tape, stick on a returns label, which they're mostly free these days. They usually give you free returns, and go to the post office.
Yeah.
You have to queue for the post office now for one, and I don't know why it's any different to me hopping in the car and going to the shopping centre to take something back, but there's just this stigma around returning stuff from online, and I think a lot of people do end up keeping their stuff because they can't be bothered.
It's interesting you say that, because buying and selling of our age is so popular now that with Depop, where people are going and reselling at going back into the post office and posting it online and selling it again. Also, people are only wearing it once. You know, like, how many things have you bought and worn once?
Oh my god, too much, too much stuff.
So what could shops do about this? You know, how could they, and what are they going to do to captivate this market of people that are doing this? Have you got any ideas, thought of anything of how they could do it?
Well, I think with high street shops, like, of course you can buy something and return it if you don't like it and walk in there, but again, with obviously no one was expecting the second lockdown, it's come out of nowhere, and I think it's time for us and high street shops to think out of the box, because this second lockdown was unexpected. We were starting to get normality back, so I think now we need to look at the bigger picture and think, how long is this really going to be around, and what can we do to help our business? And I mean, that's what Goldlist is here for. We're here to help the business, and obviously, as you know, we've had some ideas of how the high street can take that step forward and maybe not necessarily move to online, but kind of have a collection system we've thought about. And I think that if you could literally just go, right, I need that and that from this shop, and I'm just going to go pop in and collect it. There's no queuing. You can go in, grab your bag from the till. You've already paid for it online. Walk around. You're still getting that high street experience. You still know where you're getting your clothes from. Who's handing you your clothes? Like, it's just more of a safe thing. Like, think about the amount of times in lockdown. I don't know if it was much for you, but especially for us girls ordering stuff online through lockdown, the amount of things that were lost in the post because of obviously not a lot of your working deliveries were so delayed. Things like that, like, you're never guaranteed anything, and I feel like there's that personalisation and that human interaction is lost online, and I think this collection system that could potentially be implemented through Goldlist to the high street would give back that human interaction that we've missed, but in a safe way. And if you want to return it, there should be a way that you can kind of go, I'm submitting that return online, but to that shop, they know you're bringing that back. Simply bring it back when you're next in there. No rush, no quickly need to post that back in the 30 days that they give you online. Like, for example, a lot of people work 9 to 5. Post offices will open at 9 and close at 5. When are you gonna? That's why a lot of online retailers don't ever get their clothes back, and I mean, that's great for them because they're pocketing all that money. But for you, it's so annoying, because you don't have that time. You can't physically get there. And I think with the high street, it's just so much more manageable, and because it's that human interaction, it's more understanding. You have that option to kind of have a few more days here and there and things like that. So
yeah,
definitely a step in the right direction.
The thing is, successful businesses are always quick to adapt. So high street shops are going to see this coming, and they're going to see a lot of what you were saying. We know that tech gives you the ability, online especially, to reach a much larger audience, which Goldlist can do, and it would be nice to hopefully get these businesses in the high street starting to know what Goldlist is doing, so they can adapt and become successful. So you've mentioned it a few times, but do you care about sort of supporting small businesses?
Oh, 100%. I think, I was saying it earlier actually, I was speaking with my boyfriend about like what we're going to do in lockdown and things like that, and obviously it's that thing is that we can't go out for dinner, we'll get a takeaway. But when you think of a takeaway, your mind straight goes to, Nando's do delivery now, or Wagamama's do this, or Zzz's do this, but like, what about your little Italian down the road? Or when you're going on your exercise for the day, there's still your little coffee shop's going to be open doing takeaway. Just because Costa's open, don't force yourself to believe your little coffee shop isn't. Like these small businesses, people on the high street that we kind of appreciate the most, we don't realise it.
Yeah.
Like in my town, there is two small family-owned Italians. Like 3 of my favourite cafes are all independently owned. Like when they were closed, like I wouldn't really ever go for a coffee because that's where I go. And it's kind of as soon as they do takeaway and you're in lockdown, you kind of just think, big chains, they've got the money to stay open. But the small businesses need the money to stay open. And I think they're the most important people to help, especially on the high street, because they're so unique. And I think that's what the high street needs more of sometimes. Sometimes it is just swarmed by chains and big brands. And I think helping these small businesses through this time, but we don't know when it's going to end and we don't know where it's going, like I think that's the most important thing. So don't order your big takeaway, go to your independent, is what I can
It's
say.
interesting you're saying that, because although you're quite a lot passionate about it, you still shop with Pretty Little Thing.
Well, that's the thing.
All these, but why is that? The ease, effortlessness,
Of course
you can
it
send
is,
back.
I think ease and effortlessness is the biggest thing about a lifestyle. Our generation especially, we're not, I always say this, I think maybe it's just me defending myself, sometimes my parents when they moan at me on a Saturday morning, but we're not a lazy generation, we're impatient. We're not lazy, we're hard workers, I truly believe that. But we're impatient, we like to do things quickly. Why am I going to drive, park, pay for parking, walk to the shop these days, queue for the shop now, when I can order it online and be with me tomorrow?
But potentially because you want the experience?
Well, that's the thing. It depends what the driving point is. And I think that with online shopping, we're all guilty of it. We all do it sometimes. Like, it's what we've now got used to. This whole year, that's what we've been used to. But I'll always buy more from on the high street. Because I can see it, I can feel it. Send me to the high street, I'll come back with 5 more items than I would have ordered online. Because I trust it more. Like, every time I order stuff online, I think, probably not going to fit. What size do I get? They're so different. Will that look like that in person? When you're there, like you say, you're getting that experience, but as well, you're seeing the item for what it is. There's no, they didn't take a picture from that angle because that's a bit dodgy. They didn't upload this comment about it, they didn't do that. You're kind of guaranteed, like, what you see is what you get. And it's honest and real, like you say, and I think that ease and effortlessness that you get online can easily be implemented into the high street. And I just think it just needs to take that bit of thought on to get those shops on board to realise that this is the step in the right direction for them, because we all love online shopping, but I know we would all be devastated if we didn't have the high street anymore.
And potentially the one-offs and the niches that you get in a high street shop that in PLT that you shop with, every girl in the country has accessibility to. People like the one-offs, the one-of-ones, and to be able to have something that no one else does.
No,
that's
exactly.
what the high street can offer.
You don't have those little shops that are like bits and bobs, or like I said, you don't have that little unique coffee shop and things like that. You don't get any of that online. Like, everything's the same. You don't. There's, like you said, there's no uniqueness. There's nothing special.
No experience. Like, Selfridges thrive because of the connection you have with the product you're buying. You can buy everything in Selfridges online, but you go there for the experience and the fact you can get it gift wrapped and maybe someone will come and help you choose it.
That's actually quite anomaly actually, because if you think about that, how many people do you know that order off Selfridges online? I know no one, but I know a lot of people that go to Selfridges and buy something. But again, is that because of the experience? Yes, of course. And as well the appearance side of it. Because everyone wants to be seen with a Selfridges bag. And everyone wants to be kind of seen having that lavish lifestyle. And as well, that is also a driving point for someone. Because as bad as it sounds, people like to be seen shopping in the high street with their 5 bags and things like that. Because again, that's an experience for them, different kind of experience for them than it might be for some people. But online shopping, no one really knows. You don't know who your customer is, you also don't know who you're buying from. There's none of that. And as well, Selfridges, a lot of it's high end. And I feel like when you're going to buy something high end, you want that human interaction. You're not going to trust someone shipping over your £2,000 bag, are you? I think that's something you can definitely lose online.
Yeah, so to go back where we sort of started off, the future of the high street, if I could get a sort of in as little words possible, where do you see it going?
I think it's definitely going to go more digital.
Okay.
Just because of the times, really. That's where I was going to see it's going to go. Okay. Click and collect, things like that.
Yeah.
That's already been implemented in quite a few supermarkets. Could definitely work for mainstream shop, and I think it would work well.
I think it's interesting with especially the UK high street, how slow they have been to adapt. You look at China and places like that where they don't even barely use cash.
Yeah.
You know, all cashless systems. It's all through WeChat and things like PayPal. And there's barely anything. It's just and it's over here. It's taken quite a long time to adapt. And the high street. I mean, we've got so much tech available, but the only thing you can really do tech-wise in the high street at the moment is pay through your phone or your Apple Watch or something. And there's so much tech available.
And I think, in a way, the high street's nice because it's what it always has been. It's not old-fashioned. Some would say shopping in person is an old-fashioned way of shopping now because everything is online. But it's quite nice to kind of have that nostalgic experience. Like, you give them like a £20 note, or you do pay on your card, or you are carrying your bags around, and you do stop for the coffee with all your bags next to you, and you've got your kids with you, and things like that. And in some ways, that's nostalgic, and that's part of the experience. But I do see what you mean if it's a bit behind, because even online, you can pay by Apple Pay. You can literally use my thumb and I've ordered something online, and it's like they're always on par. And I think obviously online has gone ahead because of coronavirus and all things like that, but I think the high street has so much potential to catch up with that and kind of get their ball rolling with something different, because after all this, you're going to want to be out of the house as much as you possibly can. Anyway, and where's the perfect place to go for that? The high street. So I think there's definitely got to be something that we can implement, they can implement, to have some kind of system going where it's so smooth you don't even think about online anymore.
Well, thank you. I know you're very busy. Interesting talking to you because you spend so much time doing research for an app that's going to help the high street thrive. So yeah, always remember to subscribe. Many more videos coming. Maybe not with as many guests due to what's coming up, but thank you very much, and please like as well. Cheers.